Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Big Salvi and the Royals get it done against my Pinstripers. And oh yeah, the Kitties are alive in Detroit. Let's talk ball. Kerry Carpenter.
Carlos Rodon.
A little below the belt, and that's how we like it here on Talkin' Baseball. My name is Jake Storielli. That is Trevor Plouffe, BBD producing. As it was ALCS Day, the American League had the spotlight today. And spoiler, I don't know if you have no idea, you're just listening to this. All the series are at 1-1, Trev.
Yeah.
Competitive baseball is back, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk some of these games with you. The outfits throw me off a little bit. But what's bringing me back in, though, a lot of tongue in these playoffs. We got the Nando tongue last night. Rodon with the tongue tonight.
Salvi.
I don't know.
Salvi snuck some tongue in there.
Salvi had some tongue.
You know he does.
Right.
You know he does.
You know, before we start, I just thought this was really funny. It is a sexy show.
Sexy show.
I saw someone comment on our last episode, like, if you listen to this around your kids, you might not want to listen to this one. And we got a little inappropriate last
there's a little too much playoff.
For a Monday morning.
A little too much playoff testosterone in the air.
I was watching the post-game coverage on TBS, I guess. It's like J-Rawl, it's Dusty Baker, Pedro Martinez, Curtis Granderson, Lauren Shihadi. Shout out all those guys.
Squad.
And girl. Sal comes on, and you know, like I think it's like the Obama skit that was on Key and Peele where he's like dapping everybody up and then gives the handshake.
Yeah.
So Sal, that the first two guys, it was Pedro, and he was like, "Oh, get okay," all the good Latin stuff. And then to Dusty Baker, he gave that whole thing too. And then J-Roll's like, "Hey, it's J-Roll," and then they just like they continue the conversation, and there was no like big pleasantries. And I was like, "Oh, I put myself in J-Roll's shoes. I didn't like it. I want to get the big dap up." And
maybe there's just no history there.
No, it's tough. I just thought it was funny. And also I was like, man, I was wondering if I was like, "Hey, Sal, what's up? It's Plouffe." He would give me something. All those years battling together.
I mean, that rivalry.
What a rivalry.
That's kind of what's happening. Cleveland, Minnesota, or Cleveland, Detroit. Sorry. I think Big Sal will give you love.
Anyways, a lot of good ball to talk.
There is a lot of ball to talk about, Trev. Detroit, big back. Yanks, don't like what Jazz Chisholm's talking about after the game. Don't drop the L word. Luck. No, you almost got...
say Ludacris, one of my favorite rappers and actors.
Beat twice. Luda. Let's get into it, and we're doing it with SeatGeek. The baseball playoffs are here. And to celebrate, SeatGeek is giving you guys a special offer. Wow. John Boy Playoffs 10. Look at that seat Trevor's got. That's a nice seat. A little extra pillow cushion for your pillow cushion.
Get raised up a little bit, yeah.
You're telling me. John Boy Playoffs 10. 10% off. Whether you've used SeatGeek before, whether you haven't used SeatGeek before, it's 10% off. And if you're not going to something right now...
Does it keep it there?
Yes. It's just a code you enter, and it's like, do you want to use this code now?
Computers, bro. Computers.
We were talking about that beforehand. We'll probably land the show there. That's where we always end up. John Boy Playoffs 10. Download the SeatGeek app, or if you already have it, enter in the code John Boy Playoffs 10. Click the link. You know what, Trev? It got a little cut off last time. Let's do some Tigers... and some guard dogs, the way America wants it to be. The Detroit Kitties would scratch and claw to get back in the series behind their ace, Tarek Skubal, while Matthew Oil Can Boyd would try to grease up a second win for Cleveland. Shadows pitching and defense. Boyd, 4.2, 0 earned runs. The law firm of Smith, Heron, and Gaddis with 3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. And Tarek Skubal, your Cy Young winner, goes 7 innings, 0 earned runs. The Will Vest himself, a clean inning that there's zeros all over the board. And here comes the baddest man of them all, Emmanuel Class A, and unfortunately, he was the bad man today. Jesus walks and he hits. Kerry Carpenter, 3-run homer, hardest ball he's ever hit, and it's not getting frisky versus brisky. Here come the Kitties. Tigers win game 2, 3-0 final. Trev?
I'm just looking at your outfit.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Oh man, I mean, this game went. You almost called it. You said I'm going to take 1-0.
I know.
Per team. Problem was there's some base runners on. For old Jesus was a Carpenter, Kerry Carpenter. What a game. We knew there was going to be some troubles with the shadows. Apparently, before the game, there was a lot of cloud coverage, and they were talking like the hitters were like, thank goodness, because they know. Hitters understand when the shadows are going to be out. These games are at the worst possible time. And just as the game started, sun broke through. And I don't know. I mean, look, obviously it has an effect on the game, but also Scooble was absolutely filthy today. I mentioned to you for the show, there was 3 hits and a hit by pitch, 2 double plays. Did Scooble get the tongue out too?
Scooble might have had some
to
tongue.
it. Oh
he
my
was
God,
screaming.
what is happening right now? That's a thing, huh? Okay. So with my math, which my math is always perfect,
Right.
Cleveland sent 2 batters above the minimum today to the plate. That's not going to get it done. And then obviously, man, that at bat by Kerry Carpenter, who doesn't start against lefties because I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think he's got 40 at bats against them, and how do we know he can't hit lefties? I don't care about it. He gets in there, gets an at bat against Gaddis, I believe, and then gets the second at bat against Class A. 3 sliders in a row, and he didn't miss it, Pop. That's for sure.
He sure didn't. Not a joke. It's the hardest ball he's hit at the big league level. What a moment for Detroit. Man, there's a few moments in this game. Our guy Big Christmas, John Kensey Noel, makes a nice throw from the corner, throws out a guy going for second. Stephen Kwan, I believe the inning before this, makes the diving catch that I was about to cash in my 1-0 prophecy. Like, that was it. Here's the run. Stephen Kwan, and he's just so good. He's like, I know that sounds like incredible analysis, but everything he does is so dialed. His at-bats against Scooble were so gnarly. Like, to make that diving catch, I thought he saved the game there. I thought when that happened, Class A is in. I thought that somehow, some way, the Guardians were going to win it. It was going to be 2-0. Here we go. Instead, we get the Kerry Carpenter at bat that, I mean, what some of the stats that were flying around, Class A, someone said Class A gave up 3. Okay, he gave up 5 earned runs in the regular season, and he gives up 3 earned runs on that swing. You talked about it like this could be the 1 and 2 in the Cy Young. Like, Corbin Burns probably splits them. But, for Scooble to go out what he did, and he's been scoreless this postseason now. Detroit's a problem, dude. I feel, hey, we talk about a lot of baseball, and I said you can't predict it, and I'm not trying to. But what do the Detroit Tigers have? They have Scooble and Hart, and the Scooble part is clicking on all cylinders. And hey, Kerry Carpenter's a baller, dude. Like, this is another proud moment for me that you've had your Jesus was a Carpenter, but like, this dude has raked on an MLB field the past 2 years now. That he gets their bad man in Class A, and we're guaranteed 2 in Detroit now. Parker Meadows makes a nice catch. There was a little
lot of good defensive plays.
There was a little debate at the office today. Like, there was a little AL Central, anti-AL Central going on. Is this good baseball? It's a 4:00 game. Scooble.
Who said is it good
Matt
baseball?
Boyd.
Don't tell me who, because then I'll.
These teams play fantastic defense.
Yes.
All around the field. and they
What
can
was
pitch.
bad about this baseball? That's I don't know. This was very good baseball. You talk about the shadows, great. Yes. Do they
There
affect the
wasn't
game?
a ton of
Yes.
offense, Trev. I think
That doesn't mean it's not good baseball.
I think I agree with you.
You know, you can talk about again getting those double play balls, first and third, bottom of the sixth, one out. Scooble gets the ground ball. Trey Sweeney has to come in on that
Yeah.
ball, and that was, I mean, you don't turn a double play on that. I mean, he came and got that overhand toss, which was interesting. That's not an easy throw to make, and Keith made a great turn there. I mean, that is I mean, that's big plays. I mean, right there could have easily been the first run for the Guardians, and then all of a sudden the game is completely different.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I disagree with the bad baseball remark.
No,
Again, don't
hey,
tell me.
again, I don't shoot Jesus's messenger here. For me, the playoffs are showing how much speed and defense matter. And okay, another great one, Jake. It's midnight on the East Coast. Me recording my second Talking Baseball in this shirt today, just with a mock turtle underneath it this time. But I believe David Fry hit that ball that gets turned.
It did.
20-second sprint speed David Fry. When we get to my Yankees in a little bit, Giancarlo Stanton is getting the ire of a lot of Yankee fans because he's now been a negative for them in 2 games. So it just stands out, especially on these teams where there is a ton of speed and defense. I mean, Jimenez and Rocchio up the middle. My God.
Fun.
Even dude, we started drooling, and again, I'll put this in the good baseball category. There's a ball Lane Thomas just threw in, and it was like, yo, okay, like Lane Thomas got some dog in him, and it's everywhere for Cleveland. That's obviously their formula. Hedges catching, obviously he has a skill set. I don't know, man. I'm jazzed up for the rest of the way, dude. Like this. The Detroit popping off that I've dreamed of is back. And if the Tigers, A, if they can do some at home, B, if they can just win one, Scooble is back. And he is currently the bad man of these playoffs.
That's where it gets a little bit scary for Cleveland. I think I don't know if this was a must. I guess it was a must win for Detroit. We talked about that. Having him in 2 games, being able to put up what he put up. I mean, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no walks, 8 Ks. Having a guy like that, especially when you have a bullpen that's been dominant down the stretch as well, you have that game, as an offense, man, we just got to push 1 across, 2 across, get a lead early, and that game is ours. Having the ability to throw him twice in a series is such a huge advantage. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're Cleveland, all you want to do is bring it back to Cleveland. I think it gets a little greedy to say, hey, let's go win 2 in Detroit. But who's waiting for you in Cleveland? The guy that just shut you down in your home ballpark. So I think if I'm handicapping this series now, you got to give the nod to Detroit just because of the Tarek Skubal factor. And that's how big of a difference maker he can be for them. And if Cleveland goes and wins 2 in Detroit, then we won't even be talking about it. But another thing I think is really cool about these playoffs is we're seeing playoff baseball in some places we haven't seen it in a long time. The Tigers haven't had a home playoff game, I think, since 2013. I don't think the Royals have had a home playoff game since 2015. So this is fun stuff. These crowds are going to be awesome. When the Royals are good, when they were good in 2014, 2015, that place was packed and it was a really, really fun place to play. So they're going to show up. I was just in Detroit for a Lions playoff game and I was a little scared because that energy was crazy. I'm sure it's going to be the same way at the ballpark there. The playoffs what's the word I'm looking for? They've delivered.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that walk-off, me and the artist known as Joe's McFly were grabbing dinner before the Yankee game at a local establishment, and we both shrieked out loud, trying to get attention on ourselves. Yes, we're internet celebrities. No, man, that's Class A. I like maybe I should drive home the point again a little more. Do you remember where his regular season ERA landed, Trev?
0.7?
0.61.
6-1. Okay.
So for every 9 innings he pitched, he gave up zero point 0.6 runs.
Yeah. Got it.
0.61
that.
to be exact. Man. Huge for this series because, like we talked about, I do think if the guards had got it done, I think it would have been Jover. Will Vest, I've been hammering that name, and I want to continue to because that dude is, he looks like a character out of Westworld, and his name feels out of Westworld. Like
he's got one of the worst baseball reference pictures around right now. He's got to get that changed.
Okay, we'll work with him on that. Bo Brisky's gotten them a couple saves now. This is, in a way, this is beautiful playoff baseball because we're trying to scratch a couple runs. I think 2 runs would win you each game in this series, in theory. Not how baseball works, but upcoming, I don't know how much we want to tee it up. I think it's trade deadline ad Alex Cobb who will get the pill for Cleveland. And it's going to be your favorite, Trev, pitching chaos for Detroit.
Pitching chaos, except when Scooble's in, then it's the most perfect ironed out plan. Do you have any problem with back-to-back-to-back sliders there by Clase?
I have a problem with the location of them. Like even the one
middle, 2 in a row.
The one before exactly ended up middle, and me and Joe's looked at each other and was like, "Ooh, can't put it there." We're going to talk about sliders a little bit with Carlos Rodon. It something always feels off if you get beat on not your pitch, and I thought it was interesting. To me, Trev, your hitting prowess outdoes me a little bit, except in Blitzball Battle 1. And Blitzball Battle 5 comes out November 4th. Get excited for that, people. It looked to me like Kerry Carpenter was selling out. Everything Class A throws comes in, whether it's the cutter or the slider, that it looked like he was off the plate a little bit, and he was selling out. That if Class A dotted one outside, what can you do? And
he said after the game he was trying to be on time for the fastest pitch. He's trying to be on time for 100 in, and that pitch was just a reaction. And it kind of seemed that way. You see that pitch enough. You're just trying to get your body. I say this all the time. Curveball BP might be the best hitting drill there is. And you see 3 sliders in a row, kind of gets you settled in there. You're tracking. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, I got to be on time for this fastball. Another one comes. I mean, that was another. I've had a lot of audible gasps during this playoff year, and that was one of them, man. You just don't expect that out of Class A. And I guess, so before we move on,
sure,
must-win game for Cleveland, game 3. Right? You can't let the Tigers get 1 win away with another game at home and Scooble looming. I feel like you have to go win game 3.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a weird must-win season, and it was actually a great Kerry Carpenter interview, Scooble after the game. They were like, hey, was this a must-win game for you guys? And he was like, not technically, because if we lost, we still would have had more games. So we're in a funky must-win. I know what you're saying. I don't necessarily think so, just because with 2 days of pitching chaos, like the Tigers could sell out, win Wednesday's game, but they could be screwed for Thursday. So no.
But what I'm saying is, okay, then your consolation prize is getting Scooble at home, which you just got.
Right, but it's not like this was a blowout. If the second or third best pitcher in the American League this year does what he did all season, who knows what happens? They might still be playing there. So it's not a death wish. And hey, Josh Naylor drove a ball off Scooble. Rocchio got a dot. Jose Ramirez is going to be there at some point. Kwan's in every at bat he takes. My goodness, that you're not dead.
So okay, I'm trying to go back now and think about what happened here.
How about this?
Okay. I have a thought here before I
Okay.
lose it. What about pulling Hunter Gaddis and not giving Clase just a clean inning? Hunter Gaddis intentionally walks Riley Green. Now he's facing Perez, who hits the liner that Quan catches. I feel like you just give him a clean inning. Let Hunter Gaddis has been nasty all year long. Like, what's the point of making him go extra pitches? Now, I don't know if that had an effect, whatever it is. I'm just saying, like, these are the managerial decisions that we tend to in the playoffs really go over with, a fine tooth comb, if you will. Do you have a problem with that? I kind of did. I saw Hunter Gaddis' face, like, what the. I can do it too.
Not at the time. Like, I'm not going to blame a manager for going to Class A,
I understand that. I understand
that's
that. We were talking about hindsight here. I'm just saying.
It's the button you dream of pressing when you come into the game. And yeah, I mean, when Seal Perez had a double, that was, very much not a dribbler down the line, but not exactly a bullet that, yeah, I mean, if you want to overthink it, it definitely is a risk. Like, hey, if you make that reliever come in and throw a couple, sit back down and come in, you're not getting them at the peak of their powers. But if
I don't see any 1 point or 2 points anywhere. Right. I think is that the first time that he's had to do that this year?
We can get our research on it.
I'm looking at it right now. It's all clean innings. There's a 2 against your Yankees on August 20th. The rest of them are all just 1 innings. There's no 1.1, 1.2s.
Saved it for my Yanks, huh?
To me, interesting. I know it's the playoffs. I know you want to push that button if you're Stephen Vogt, and it's a good one to press. Find those buttons, kids. We're talking about it. It's interesting.
It is interesting, and Trev, it is a good point. And for me, it's if you're willing to do something in the playoffs, I realize you can't do this with Class A every series, but once or twice a month, like, you should be doing this. Like, that's what blows my mind. Like, if this is
bunting during the regular season, if you're going to bunt all of a sudden in the playoffs.
If we see this as a postseason strategy, which we do with every reliever and every team, why would you not do it at least like twice a year? Like, players are creatures of habits. That, yeah, I guess when you put that out there, it just would have been, if Wensiel Perez hits another double off of Gaddis and 2-run score, we'd say, you had Class A sitting in the bullpen?
Sure. 100%.
I like 100%. What else was I? Oh, how about this? Because I think this is because for a lot of teams and a lot of fan bases, they feel like their next game 3 is must win. I guess if we had to rank the game 3 must win scale of I guess it would be 4 teams, right? Because so who are the teams that game 3 is the biggest must win? This is some Chris Rose shit. I should be Chris Rose.
It is. Oh my gosh. I'm about to go do that show after. I think Dodgers might be number 1.
I think you're right. I think I agree on that.
The Padres have so much momentum. I think they would close it out in 4 if they won game 3. And then I think it's probably no, I don't. I think
Cleveland
that
over
5.
Phillies, yeah.
I think it's Cleveland, and then I think it's Royals or Yankees, and then I think Phillies Mets is going 5, and I don't think they don't care.
The gods are just unstoppable there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about your Yanks a little bit.
That was a segment. Yeah, let's talk about booking.com. Yeah. Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Whether, these series are hitting the road. Maybe you're going to beautiful Kansas City, the barbecue. Maybe you're heading to Detroit, Rock City. Maybe you're heading to beautiful San Diego.
A lot of Mediterranean food in Detroit. How about that?
Or maybe, I like that. Or maybe you're heading to New York City, babe.
Mm.
If you're doing any of those, come book it with Booking.com. Hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, however you like to travel in the U.S. cities, Booking.com has it. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Book today, Booking.com, and download the Booking.com app. Trevor, you have a question or a statement?
What's your favorite kind of yeah call? Is it like, yeah? Or is it like,
Ooh.
yeah? Or yeah?
It's situational, no? Like,
A
I don't
lot
know.
of yeah calls out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the excited, like, yeah.
Oh, I like that one a lot. Like, hey, you want to go get some beers and watch some football?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey. Kids are out of town this weekend. You wanna play some golf and watch the game? Yeah.
Yeah, we should get some road beers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chicka yeah. Tigers pitching KS Cobb. We already did that. Detroit and Cleveland. I'm sorry, like Cleveland, you guys were rocking today, and especially for a 4 p.m. Monday game,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh,
a
yeah.
tough draw. That crowd was going. And no offense to them, because we're doing a lot of Tigers, like Scooble, 2 at home, blah, blah, blah. Guards, you guys are set up well. Do your thing. But Detroit, I want that place to be just absolute Looney Tuneville. I want people in the stands looking at each other, like, not scared, but just like feeling like earlier forms of humans. Not to get heavy.
Oh,
Just
okay.
like animals.
There was like a lot of like murder
Just
in the early
not
parts
that.
of like human,
Just like eating food with your bare hands.
tribal murder for
Okay.
power.
You know what? Let's do the Yankees roast.
Do we apologize for guys? We didn't mean to cut off
Yeah.
Tigers guards talk. We had great Tigers guards talk. It's linked if you want to go back and
It's on the audio.
We got
end.
so
It's a
much.
glitch.
We got so much. This is fun. Yanks Royals, game 2. They see me Reagans, they catch me Rodon, they try to catch me pitching lefty as the Southpaw Chameleonaires tee it up in the Bronx. Bottom 3, G-Unit. 50's having a day right now. Infield single off of Witt's glove. 1-0 Yanks. All you want to do is ride around Salve, ride, as he sends one into the bleachers. Tied game at 1. Is Tommy Pham going to have to slap a pitch? RBI single. Garrett Hampson and Michael Garcia order the same. It's 4-1 Royals in the 4th. Rodon, 3.2 for Ernie's ew. The Royals' pen was strong. The Yanks hit him with a little light jazz late, but their fortitude was not enough as the Royals take game 2 4-2.
you got me a little bit there.
There's a lot of funk in there. Right around
I forget Tommy
Salve.
Pham slapping Jock Peter.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Over fantasy football.
That's crazy. Just because he said he would. He said he would, so he had to do it. Once you say it, you got to do it.
I like Tommy Pham. Tommy
Dang,
Pham's a man of his word.
Slapping somebody?
Trev,
we stabbed.
We just had a sad Talkin' Yanks episode about this. People feel free to go drink those tears if you want them. I guess, what do you want to hear, or where do you want to go?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like there kind of wasn't a ton to this game other than the Royals strung together some hits there in the 4th. And I think if you look at who's on the field, I mean, they're more athletic. You talk about running the bases, taking the extra base, all that. That is not the Yankees' forte. That's not exactly what they do. Did they add some of that? Sure, during the year. But, I think that's how I said the Royals are going to have to hit 3-run homers to try to keep up with the Yankees offense. They really haven't had to. They didn't have to today. All they had to do was play their kind of baseball, string together some hits because, I mean, the Yankee bats aren't necessarily there yet, or they weren't there today. And that was kind of like the story of the game. They've kind of found, I think it was interesting, like straight back to the bullpen guys. They kind of struggled. Like Zerpa comes in, does a good job. So I thought that was good to see if you're a Royals fan. Hey, like our bullpen did their thing today. And you got the trust of your manager again, but you go Zerpa to Schreiber to Bubic to Ursich, and that's it, man. I think that was kind of the story of the game, other than they saw how many did everybody pitch for the Yankees except for Heel?
Yep.
You don't want that in a playoff game, too. I know there's an off day. I get that. But that's usually means the game's not going too hot.
Yeah, you could argue maybe a little bit of over managing. At the same time, the bullpen doesn't give up a run. I mean, Ian Hamilton, the inherited runner from Rodon, but he follows up the inning by striking out Witt, Pasquantino, and Salvi. Rodon was juiced up early, probably overjuiced.
Yeah, a little bit.
Really feeding into it, and that either way, if you do that, you kind of have to do that for at least 5 or 6, because you do that and you throw 3.2 for Ernie's, that doesn't feel so good. Every run that was given up in that 4th inning was hit off the slider, which is his second pitch. Man, a pretty fun one by old dog Salvi. He got started slider, ball, so it's a 2-0 count. So, that's probably a fastball, right? Another slider. Salvi was not fooled, and he hit one of his majestic Salvador Perez's home runs to take the Yankees' brief lead off the scoreboard. And then just a lot of good, tough at-bats, man. Tommy, like the Royals, and I'm not the biggest statistics guy, but I'll tell you what's kind of working this postseason, putting the ball in play. And these Royals, that's their goal. The San Diego Padres, that's their goal. Now, they got some thump going there, too. A lot of good hitters on the Mets and the Phillies. They grinded out the at-bats in the 4th inning, and it won them a ball game. Like you said, seeing bullpen, we did not see Bubic in game 1. He gives them two innings, 0 earned runs. Guardians Tigers, we didn't mention it too much because you can mention it with every series, but the more you see these relievers, the later in the games it gets. And that's where it's scary that, the Yankees they showed everyone today. Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge, they've combined for a rough series. Your AL MVPs 1 and 2. Judge has the only hit between them. It's an infield single. There's a lot of, the Yankees technically won the first game on a base runner that probably should have been out. And they kind of had a couple things go their way in that game that now, after you lose this game, it's like, okay, so did we get a little lucky in game 1 and we lost game 2 and now we're heading to Kansas City? Like everything I've said about Detroit, that's a rowdy fan base. That fan base loves baseball. They love sports, dude. Go look at a Chiefs game. That they are going to be very hyped to show off what they're about down there. The Yanks are obviously daunted, and that's the side I can speak from a little better. I will say, if you told me coming into the series, hey, Jake, these Royals are a good team, they're going to win 1 game against your Yankees, I would say it would be the game 2 Cole Reagan's game. Because they've struggled with lefty starting pitchers this year, and he's one of the best in baseball.
Yeah, he struggled to kind of find the zone there. Got a little bit erratic, ended up walking 4. How about Maikel Garcia in the leadout spot, 4 for 5, steals a base. Here's my question for you. I don't want to keep bringing this back to the Yankees, but it was a genuine question in my head when I was watching the game. You see what Shohei's done in the leadoff spot. You see what Francisco Lindor's done in the leadoff spot. Juan Soto could have been due up there with a runner on base instead of Gleyber Torres if he's just batting 1 spot higher in the lineup. I know Gleyber's been pretty good in the leadoff spot, right?
Yeah.
To my knowledge. But don't you want your big dogs up as much as possible?
It's an interesting combo. Soto and Judge were so good this year from the 2-3 that I agreed with them at the time, like no need to mess with it. I do believe in that baseball juju. And Glaber, for the second half, has been really good out of the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
And Glaber usually gives a good at-bat. His last at-bat, first pitch swinging against Urseg is tough. In this series, he's got a 500 OBP. Like, Glaber has not been the problem.
I'm not saying he's the problem. I was just thinking about that. I was really would like to see I would love to see Soto up now.
You're right. That part of that formula is Glaber has seen a ton of pitches. That feels like that helps Soto and Judge because, the more those guys see anything, the better. Just no rallies in this game. Not, I don't know, man. There's just some stuff that gives you, like, the bad wiggles right now. Like, Stanton is a hitter that, he tends to struggle when he has a long layoff. And so his at-bats haven't been that pretty. He's putting a lot of balls on the ground, which not his strength. He gets an RBI in this game. Bobby Witt might field that ball 7 out of 10 times, especially with Big G running. I don't know. Jazz Chisholm after the game saying they got a lucky win is every fan's nightmare. Because that's half glass full, half glass empty. Kansas City right now, they're saying we took one at the stadium and Bobby Witt and Vinny P haven't gone yet. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, if you're a Royals fan, you're saying these guys if they want to progress in the playoffs, whether it's this series or continue to a World Series path, like, they have to go. That's their bread and butter is those three guys. Bobby Witt, Vinny, and Sal. You mix in Maikel Garcia. You mix in Garrett Hampson. By the way, Long Beach State guy. Shout out Evan Longoria. It's his birthday today.
Wow.
Also from Reno, Nevada. Chris Rose, Michelle met there. A lot of connections there at Garrett Hampson. But, you get those contributions mixed with your big dogs. That's when you go on these runs. That's when you get hot. Bobby Witt looks a little quick with the trigger right now, man. Just got to slow it down a little bit. Curveball BP, bro. Every at bat seems like he's just a little quick right there. And Vinny clearly is. I feel like he's nursing, and it's not. We're looking like an 80% Vinny.
Yeah, and Vinny sent a couple foul balls that'll make you hold your breath for a second. So it's not like he's. It's not like Vinny's at bats are up and it's like, okay, like let's breathe. He might have gave the scariest swings today. And you're right on Bobby. Like it seems like he knows the baseball gods of, like, once you get one, everything else comes. That it's like against Clay Holmes, he was chasing some sinkers in the dirt that he was probably thinking like, hey, I'm Bobby Witt. If I get some wood on this, I've got a chance to make something happen.
That's his thing. He's so good bat to ball that when you get in these situations, you're like, I can barrel up anything. You might be able to get your barrel to it, but where is it? Where are your legs at when your barrel does get to it? And they're gone. So it really is for Bobby. You got to see one deep, you got to shoot one to right, and then everything will come after that.
It's going to be interesting. The Royals haven't officially announced it yet. They should have Seth Lugo on full regular rest.
I believe they, in the last half hour, officially announced.
Okay, so it'll be Lugo versus Schmidt, which the Yankees was a little curveball by them. Not crazy. Luis Gil, who had been so electric this season, faded down the stretch a little bit. Double Tommy John guy. Passed his career innings limits by a lot. Clark Schmidt, who, tying this whole beautiful Yankees offseason, postseason Juan Soto trade, supposedly it was supposed to be him or King in the Juan Soto deal. We saw Mike King, and we're about to see Mike King again. Clark Schmidt, on the other side of that, in limited action this year, did have a 2.85 ERA. When I say limited, 85.1 in 16 starts, so like half a season. So the Yankees are going there. It'll be interesting to see if there's some Luis Gil, any funny business, because he has a power arm that not a lot of guys have. Will the Yankees tap into that in the bullpen? Are they trying to get through this series without using Luis Gil and get him some extra rest if they need him? that's something to watch in Yankee land. I guess Brady Singer as a card that the Royals have not played yet. Like Brady Singer was good for them.
Yep.
That game 3 in Kansas City is going to be raucous. And yeah, we're starting to get to a point where Yankee fans, maybe reactionary, are wondering, like, hey, does Stanton, do you have him on the bench?
Judge has got to go, man.
Judge has to do something. You're the MVP, and Royals fans are saying the same thing. So, like,
I know.
And that's where baseball's funny because neither of them could go for another day or two, and other Michael Garcia's could dictate this series because right now, with his contact and his speed, he is more of a threat than he normally is. I don't know.
So
man.
we're talking about this on baseball today. The Bob Costas call of the Giancarlo grounded into double play was interesting. It's kind of like a Yankee fan for being.
Hey man, we could kind of hear the audio tonight. We were streaming with Joe's McFly.
You should go back and listen to it.
Hey man, I get that there's something beautiful about the age of this game and passing it on, and there's going to be a day where I'm an old bird. I hope there's a day where I'm an old bird telling people Aaron Judge, he's bigger than any tight end out there, and he wasn't just a power hitter. He could run. He played.
I was like, yeah, right, bro.
He played center field when he broke the home run record. And they're like, easy, little guy. Bob Costas, and Kirkjian was doing the same thing. Like, in those games, it's not the time to really be giving the history lessons unless it's, super applicable. Like, was Costas talking about Koufax tonight?
Or you're talking about the stadiums, Wrigley. You're talking about Wrigley and Fenway. Neither of those teams were playing. And then you're talking about Dodger Stadium. At least you could say they saw Sandy Koufax at Dodger Stadium. Not Dizzy Dean.
They were missing.
I get it. You got to fill the air
pitches on the broadcast tonight. Like it was tough.
A lot of live cam
during 162. Fine, I do that during 162. I think about it as I just want to entertain people, whatever that means. It doesn't have to mean I don't have to call every single.
Depends where the game's at.
Play that's everything. Playoff game is you need to be on it. Last thing I'll say, didn't know this. It's been alluded to a few times. But Judge is, God, I don't even want to bring this up because people are going to say I hate Judge. I love Judge. I think he's freaking incredible. The postseason numbers aren't great, dude.
No, they're not. They're not his numbers. A lot
208, 311, 449 for a 760.
A lot of them are from the 2022 season where he didn't have a lot of help in that lineup around him at all. Like the whole team collapsed, worst August ever. That's a little bit of an excuse. He's got to do something this postseason. He just wrapped up another MVP. There's a lot of ways to chop up stats. Like I think he's got the highest strikeout percentage above Martin Maldonado, which, baseball's changed a little bit over the years that as long as the other stats were there, that would be, a fun fact of sorts. And I think I saw.
Didn't even see the strikeouts.
Yeah.
70 and 207 plate appearances.
Not great, Bob. I do think there's a lot of ways you can cook stats. Again, this was coming from the Yankee side, but there was some stat like he's homered in 33% of the playoff games he's played in or something like that. So there's a lot of ways to cut it up. He has to be better. No doubt. And whether that's this postseason or postseasons going forward, he has to be better. The Yankees captain BS, they've leaned into that this year, and they're like, Jazz Chisholm, he fell into line right away because Judge is the captain. And, this team feeds off Judge. Okay, well, it's October, dog. And we're going to Kansas City, and you got to win at least one ball game. Otherwise, people's jobs are, Aaron Boone's contract is an option for next year.
Last thing, and then we're probably done with the show, guys. I'm going to Chris Rose you again. Who comes out of their funk in a bigger way? Bobby Witt Jr. or Aaron Judge? It's got to be Bobby, right? I don't know. He's playing at home.
Bobby has a lot more ways to come out of it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll Chris Rose you right back. Bobby can slap one and it could be a triple down the line. Bobby can have an infield single where I would punch back at myself being Chris Rose. Aaron Judge had a walk in an infield hit in this game. So, baseball happens quick that maybe the bulb's on. So, I don't know. Honestly, this is a little bit of Jakey bullshit because obviously I'm a Yankees fan and I just want them to thrive. I want them both to turn it on, man. Think about how electric this postseason has really been. The homer off Class A today, Mets, Phillies, Padres, everything going on. The Yankees-Royals game, the first one that became an afterthought, had the most lead changes in any playoff game ever. So I don't want either team walking away from this playoff series being like, damn, Bobby didn't show. Judge did all that to not. So yeah, that's tough, man.
It's a good answer.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
Talkin Jake, follow.
Follow.
That's why everyone at Fanatics Fest had a damn camera with them. No, we're not doing that right now. You got anything else, Papo? Baseball today?
I'm going to do it right now. Do you want to talk the Machado ball real quick on the outro?
What do you got?
I mean, it wasn't going to hurt anybody, but if a guy on the opposing team threw a ball like that in my dugout, I'd top step him.
There was intent.
It's not like, people are like, oh, what's that? It's not going to hurt anybody. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like the disrespect of that. It's like stepping on someone's line in a major golf tournament or something of that ilk.
Manny knew what he was. Manny knew what he was doing.
100%.
And that's okay.
It's okay.